Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name's Dalia, and today we're doing our last official build on this island. My spring island, my island Honey Oats, that I've fallen in love with the last couple of months. We are on our last official build. And today it's going to be quite a big build, despite the fact that it's kind of a pretty small area. We're going to be building a little squirrel villager neighborhood for my squirrel little villagers. So we have Marshal, Callie, and Filbert. So we're going to be building their houses today. So I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. If you do, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Hit those post notifications so you're notified of when I upload, because I'll be uploading my dream address and island tour really soon. So let me show you guys where we're going to be decorating today. This really awkward little random spot on the top right corner of my map is the only area that I have left to build. And it's like look, it's a small area, right? And these are the 3 villagers we're going to be decorating for. And their houses are just scattered all over the island right now because I didn't have a spot for them yet. So without further ado, we gotta get started. We got a lot of terraforming to do. So originally when I wanted to do this build, I knew I wanted at least 2 of the squirrels to like be together, like to have their houses nearby. And then it just kind of worked out with the villagers I ended up with as my final villagers on this island, to have all 3 of them have their houses together. And I knew I wanted to do a little neighborhood for them, and I wanted the neighborhood to have 3 tiers. So technically there is 3 tiers for this build. It's a little different than I originally thought about. And as you will see, like, I have this really cool bridge that originally leads to Bones's like fishing dock. We have to completely get rid of that, so we're gonna be getting rid of that in a moment just because the build does not fit. So here is all the area we're gonna be decorating, this awkward side little bit of cliff. And then I wanted one of the villagers' homes to be on my peninsula, so I decided to choose Marshal. I do change his house exterior a little bit, but it's honestly pretty close to his original. I think I just changed the roof of his house. And I'm using my last 2 inclines. Thank God we have 2 new inclines with the update, because if I didn't have these 2 inclines, this build would not be possible. So this is my 9th, and then I will be putting my 10th up for Callie's house in a moment. But yeah, so this is Marshall's house. Like I said, pretty much almost exactly the same as his original house. And I'm kind of like just looking around the area and trying to figure out how I could make the build work and keep the bridge that I built for my little pier dock area over there, and it wasn't gonna work. So I quickly demolished it and then time traveled again. A lot of time traveling in this build. What else is new? And then I realized I did need something in this little area, so I'm like, you know what, let's throw an incline here. Actually, okay, no, I said before that I had 2 inclines left. I had 3. Thankfully I had this one, otherwise I would not have been using it for this little area here. I would have just left this area not reachable through this path. But yeah, I threw the log staircase right here, and then I had to start moving the water terraforming around. I was a little nervous about this because this water terraforming was already really not the greatest, to be honest, but I actually ended up making it work and do a couple of cute little river stream things on the 2nd tier. So right now I'm just kind of modifying the cliffs around and trying to figure out how to make it work. Basically, I just needed as much 2nd tier cliff space as possible in order to make the other 2 houses for Callie and Filbert fit. So I really just pushed the cliff off right up to the edge of the pier build, which if you haven't seen this full build, check it out. It's on my YouTube channel. And I'm just finishing this up, and then I will be moving on to figuring out the 3rd tier cliffs, and where, as you can see, there's like a little 3rd tier cliff decorated right there. Demolish that, and then I start putting a cliff here. My original idea was to have a 3rd tier cliff be on the very, very, very back corner, and then one of the villagers' homes go there on the 3rd cliff, and then I would have another villager's home around the area where I'm currently terraforming. It just didn't work. So I decided to do like kind of like a stacked layout where one of the villagers is going to have on their house on the 3rd tier cliff here. And then one villager, obviously Marshal's, is going to be on the peninsula. And then the 3rd villager, Filbert, is going to have his house just when you first go up the incline from the peninsula. And it just honestly made the most sense, just given the space that I had. So yeah, put Filbert's house down, and I did obviously customize it. I stuck with the color scheme, so his house is like a darker blue color that honestly kind of matches his original house exterior color. And then yeah, time traveled again. We moved in the incline, which was our last incline, and then I started doing some of the water terraforming. I was originally thinking like maybe I could have a cute little pond in this area here next to Callie's house, like the incline leading up to her house, but I honestly just decided to keep it very small little streams, and then there's little islands with like flowers and trees. Which, if you've seen my last build on this island where I made my campground area, I did a similar thing, which honestly just looks really cute on the map. It looks a little more elaborate and more like natural flowing rivers, which is the whole like idea I was going with my water terraforming on this island anyway. So yeah, that's what I did there, just flattening out and kind of like curving all of the rivers to make them look as natural as possible. And then I quickly went and grabbed Callie's house. As you can see, there's Filbert's house customized in the background, and I also customized Callie's house too and gave her kind of like a beige home, which you can kind of see on the cliff right there. And then I moved on to pathing. Now the rest of the video is just going to be pathing and placing down tons of flowers and trees and obviously furniture. This build was like very overgrown, which obviously my entire island, if you've seen any of my other videos, very overgrown, lush, but I wanted this area in particular to be very overgrown and like kind of, I don't know, really messy with all the flowers and things, just because like it's meant to be, I don't know, the little neighborhood for a bunch of squirrels. Like it's meant to be like very, very overgrown and like woodsy. So tons of flowers, tons of trees, and I love the way that the final build turns out. I love the pathing that I use across this area. It's very winding, but also like very suitable for the area that I built. And I really like it. I think this is definitely a very fun build. I love how the inclines kind of like parallel one another. It's really nice, and I like that I gave each individual squirrel their own little spot and little area. Obviously each space had more space than the other. Like Marshall just had the little peninsula spot. Filbert only had a little area next to his house. Callie has this spot right in front of her house. I think I do the most decorating around her house is because it had the most space. But honestly, I wasn't really focused on giving each villager too many items around their house, just because I wanted the whole build to flow without too many items kind of getting in the way of that. So it's mainly just like more natural elements. So this is the final layout of the pathing. I think it looks really cute. And then I went to a treasure island, which I think I visited the treasure island like at least a dozen plus times to get all the flowers and trees I needed for this build. And then I got a bunch of fully grown hardwood trees, so I was just running around and planting them, and a couple of cedar trees. I don't use as many cedar trees in this build than I do with hardwood trees, because I use more hardwood trees than anything else on this island, but I do plant a couple of cedar trees just to kind of like give a little bit of contrast. It's a different color of green. And yeah, placing them on these little islands surrounding the water, which I just think it looks so nice. And this area actually connects to like my flower meadow. And it's really pretty. I like the way that the water terraforming turned out. So then after planting all of the full-grown trees, I started running around and planting some baby saplings just so I can stunt a bunch of them, and then I'll just time travel and have them fully grown in. This area here, like this big like second cliff patch of land that's directly behind Chai's house, I just plant flowers and trees on, and then I place some windmills there later. I didn't really have any plan for this area when I was like building up the cliffs in my previous builds. So honestly, just having a bunch of flowers and trees there just really just goes with my overall theme. As you can see, planted a bunch of them here, and it's just a great way of sectioning off the rest of the island from the beach, which primarily will remain undecorated on this island, except for a few like minor areas. And then I started planting some shrubs. I wanted there to be a lot of shrubs in this area too, along with the flowers and trees, just because it adds a lot more, you know, like natural nature elements. And because I don't have any shrubs in season on this island, I can use a bunch of different shrubs that have different leaf varieties, and I really think that adds a lot more uniqueness to the build, because there's a lot of different, you know, variety, and I don't know, just makes it look a lot more natural to have like different types of bushes planted in the areas. And I also use a lot of the bushes to cut off sections so that villagers don't get stuck in certain areas. I won't lie, I've already caught a villager in a couple of areas not supposed to be, like in like awkward corners, so trying to avoid that the best that I can. So for Callie's house, I decided to give her her own little sitting area just in front of her house. I was trying to decide between this and a little garden, but I actually ended up giving her a garden anyway. But right here, I just wanted to give her a cute little sitting area right in front of her house. So just placed a couple of items down. I'm keeping the color scheme here very muted, like very brown tones. Just to kind of match her overall color scheme and like her house too. And it's really cute. I like how cozy and adorable the little area ends up being. And then I got rid of that tree and I'm planting that little garden that I talked about. I decided just to plant a couple of pumpkins, which I will do in a moment. And then right next to her house, I just placed a couple of like gardening types of items. So I put a storefront right up against her house, and then just like miscellaneous things you would place around a garden. And then I decided to plant green and white pumpkins, just because once again I thought like they go with the color scheme. And then just finishing up the area with a couple of more like random items, threw a garden faucet down, and yeah. Then I'm going to time travel and water the pumpkins so that they grow at like different amounts. So like a certain area will have 3 pumpkins, one will have 1 or 2, like things like that. And then moving on to Marshall's house, I started placing some fencing down. This is fencing that I use like around the entire build. So I'm just placing this fencing right here along the peninsula just to block off the area to the back of the beach, because I will be decorating that area. And then I place it along the corner behind Filbert's house, obviously just to kind of like, I don't know, just to make it like more blocked off. And then I'm running around and just placing like one piece of fencing. As you can see, I tried the blue fencing and I like the white of it better. I like that it was a little more muted. And then just to switch it up, I put the wooden partitions right here, directly behind Chai's house. It also matches the wooden partitions I placed behind Dizzy's house in a previous build. And then moving on to Marshall's house, I just decided to give him a very simple table and chairs little area with an iced coffee. He seems like an iced coffee drinker, much like myself. And because I didn't have a lot of space, the majority of the area is just going to have some flowers. But then I placed a cute little garden wagon just directly beside his house, just to kind of like add a little bit of furniture items around. And then the area next to Filbert's house, I was debating what to do here, but I decided to kind of like match his personality type, because the lazy villagers are so like, you know, more like cozy and lazy and like relaxed and chill. I decided to give him his own little like outdoor snack and chill area, with a swinging bench. It's basically like a little mini picnic area for him, and like I gave him like a Nintendo Switch Lite, so he has like a little space he can sit outside and like play video games with. I just felt like it suited his personality type really well, and I thought it was really cute. Now the main portion of the build is planting all the flowers. Like I said, I plant so many flowers for this build. I think I visited Mystery Islands or Treasure Islands at least a dozen times just to get pockets full of flowers. So you don't see me place all the flowers. I promise I do cut a lot of it out. But the majority of the rest of the video is literally me just placing flowers down. So there's really not much to say. I'm really excited to show you guys the final walkthrough of this island later this week. I know that if you've been watching this island for a while, you probably know the general layout of the island, but just the way that the island has come together, this is probably my favorite island I've ever done. I've only ever completed 2 full islands. This will be my 3rd, because I do complete islands pretty slowly. I do the majority of my builds for videos. So, yeah, I've only ever completed 2 full islands before. I love how Lily's just like chilling behind a tree. So this will be my 3rd full completed island, and I can like easily say that this is my favorite island I've completed so far. It's been so much fun making this build, like making all the builds for this island and being creative with it. And while it is a theme I'm very comfortable doing because it has like nature and it's very like cottage core-y, I guess you could say, I did step out of my comfort zone with like some of the decorating that I did. So I definitely think that it is, and like some of the terraforming I did, especially like the water terraforming, is very different and very challenging from what I traditionally do. So I'm really excited to see you guys explore the island when the DA goes live and everything. So yeah, I'm really excited to share that with you guys. That'll be coming in a couple days after this video goes live. So now I'm just planting more flowers, and then I decided to put some windmills on this area here because I have windmills like kind of randomly scattered throughout the island on random cliffs, and as opposed to just having trees and flowers on this area, I'm like, you know what, let's plant some or place some windmills and give like a little more verticality, a little more height, just because it's a cliff and no one is meant to go back here anyway, so you'll just see the windmills in the distance. So yeah, that's what I did there. And then I had this awkward little spot directly behind the cliff where Callie's house is, and I just, in order to kind of like match the little garden shed area thing I have where her house is, I decided to put one here too. And then just some wheat fields and stuff to kind of like, I don't know, frame the rest of the cliffs, because the cliffs are like shaped in a very strange way. We're almost finished with the build. I'm just running around and planting a couple more flowers, some weeds now, and then placing some vines. And yeah, I love the way that the vines look on this area on my island. Like, I don't know, I think it gives it a lot more like unruliness. I don't even know what I'm saying at this point, but yeah. And then more flowers, as you can see. More and more and flowers. All the flowers, like, I can't tell you how many flowers I use. I wish I counted how many flowers I used for this build. But many. Which, you know, like, it's great, but like, it's exhausting time traveling and then having to visit the treasure islands to grab all the flowers, and like, it's a lot. And then my last thing before we were finished up with the video is I just ran around and placed a bunch of wheat fields and green leaf piles just to kind of like, you know, center the area and give it that overgrown, messy look, which I love for this island. And we should be almost done with the build, I think. I'm not 100% sure. I can't remember at what point I finished. Yep, we are officially finished with the build. So I just quickly time traveled to early morning. This will be the time of day my dream address is set to, so I'm so excited to see what this little area is going to look like around 6:20 a.m. in the morning. And yeah, I'm so excited to show you guys. I love the finished product of this build, so without further ado, let's do our final walkthrough. Alright, that is everything for today's video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed. I cannot believe that we're officially finished with this island. So my dream address and island tour will be going up in a couple days. I will announce the date on my community tab later today from when this video goes up, so make sure you check that out. So if you liked today's video, don't forget to leave a like and comment down below if you'd like to as well, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future videos I post. So hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!